At the scene in Cordova. Our crews have seen FBI and TBI agents going in and out of that house. The Shelby County Assessor's website lists this house as being owned by Lontrell Williams. That is the name of both Pooh Shiesty and his father. The rap star is in a halfway house right now after being released from federal.
Last night, April 1st, 2026. This wasn't normal at all. The FBI rolled up to Pooh Shiesty's family home in Cordova, Tennessee at exactly 6 in the morning, moving loud and aggressive with flashbangs lighting up the scene. This wasn't some casual check-in or Memphis police handling basic business. This was federal pressure before sunrise. Agents stormed the property, set off explosives, and locked everything down while executing both a search warrant and an arrest warrant like they meant serious business. Now here's where things get real tricky. That home is registered under the name Rel Williams, and that name connects to both Ty's legal identity and his father's too. So when federal agents hit that address, the question isn't just, is Pooh heading back to prison? It gets deeper than that. The real mystery is, who are they really targeting? And what pushed things to this level? When you start connecting the dots, it doesn't look simple at all. There's been non-stop movement over the past few months. Social media posts raising eyebrows, tension with parole officers, and those snitch rumors that Pooh was speaking on publicly while still under federal watch. That's not small talk, that's risky behavior. And when you stack all that together, this raid starts looking like something way bigger than a routine operation. Multiple angles, multiple possible reasons, and every single one points to serious consequences. You need to hear this clearly. To really understand why the situation is so intense, you've got to know exactly who Pooh Shiesty is and the kind of pressure he was already dealing with before a single federal agent even stepped onto that property. This didn't come out of nowhere. Shiesty, born Lontrell Dennell Williams Jr., was already carrying weight long before this moment exploded. He came straight out of Memphis, Tennessee and blew up fast, like overnight fast. We're talking about one of the wildest rises in rap in recent years. He linked up with Gucci Mane's 1017 Records, dropped Back in Blood, and that track didn't just do numbers, it went multi-platinum and shook the whole scene. It climbed all the way to number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became one of the most recognized rap songs of the decade. Then February 2021 hit, and he dropped his debut mixtape, Shiesty Season, and the streets went wild. His name was everywhere, his sound was taking over, and it felt like nothing could slow him down. But just as fast as he climbed up, serious trouble started creeping in right behind him. His legal issues trace back to October 2020 in Bay Harbor Islands, Florida. What was supposed to be a simple deal, allegedly involving marijuana, codeine, and sneakers, turned into a violent situation. Reports say someone from his circle pulled out a weapon and assaulted 2 people, and Pooh got tied into the whole situation. That alone was heavy, but it didn't stop there. Back in Memphis that same year, he was reportedly inside a vehicle when another person fired a weapon at a gas station. Then in May 2021, things escalated again. He was accused of assaulting someone with a firearm at the King of Diamonds strip club in Miami. During that chaos, reports claimed $40,000 fell out of his lap mid-incident, making the situation even more intense. Once federal authorities stepped in, everything changed completely. This wasn't local anymore. This was federal pressure. He got hit with serious charges, including conspiracy to possess firearms tied to violent activity, Hobbs Act robbery conspiracy, and discharging a firearm connected to a violent crime. The kind of charges that don't play around. At one point, he was facing the possibility of life in prison. That's not hype. That was really what he was facing. Life in prison was on the table, no exaggeration at all. But in January 2022, he made a move and took a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to conspiracy involving firearms tied to violent activity and drug trafficking. In return, prosecutors dropped 3 major charges, including the one that could have kept him locked away for life. Then in April 2022, the sentence came down, 63 months. That's 5 years and 3 months in federal prison. But fast forward 3 years later to October 2025, and he walked out early. Good behavior, time served, credits stacking up, it all worked in his favor. His lawyer even told Memphis News Network, the WMC, that he was ready to jump right back into music. And for a moment, it really looked like he was about to take over again. He dropped FDO, First Day Out, and that track started making noise immediately. It climbed up to number 12 on the Hot 100 in January 2026. He even earned Billboard's first Hip-Hop Rookie of the Month title. The industry was paying attention again, fans were fully locked in, and everything felt like a full comeback was in motion. Then this morning hit and flipped everything upside down. But here's the part people are overlooking, and it matters more than anything. When Pooh walked out of that federal prison in Pennsylvania in October 2025, he wasn't fully free, not even close. A lot of people miss how strict the federal system really is. He was placed into a residential reentry program under supervised release. That means every move still mattered. The Federal Bureau of Prisons had him listed under the R.M. Dallas field office, with a projected full release date set for April 11th, 2026. So, technically, he was still under federal control this entire time. That's not the same as being fully locked up, but don't get it twisted, it's not freedom either. R.M. Dallas is a federal reentry management office that controls halfway houses and home confinement programs across its region. And what that really means is simple: you're still under federal control. You've got rules, strict restrictions, and a supervision officer watching your every move. And if you slip up, even a small mistake, they can bring you right back in before you even have time to react. That's how serious it is. Normally, being in that program means you're not allowed to just travel wherever you want. Crossing state lines without approval, that's a big problem. He was supposed to be in Dallas, but the house that got hit by federal agents this morning, that's in Cordova, Tennessee. That's Memphis. That's not just a short trip, that's a completely different state. Now this is where things start lining up, and you really need to catch this part. Even while under federal supervision, he was still active, posting on social media, moving around, shooting music videos, and showing his location without hiding it. This wasn't low-key at all. It was all out in the open for everyone to see. But it goes even deeper than just posts online. In late 2025, Pooh appeared in a live stream with his associate, Ben Dadon. And right in the middle of that live, his parole officer called him directly. Reports say he got checked on the spot for not being where he was supposed to be, on live in front of everybody. That's not a good look at all. That clip went viral instantly. The internet wasted no time. Memes everywhere, jokes flying, and people saying he was about to catch a violation any second. It turned into a whole moment online. Now, officially, nothing came out right away. No public violation, no paperwork that people could point to. But let's be real, the feds don't need to announce anything for you to know they're watching. When your parole officer calls you out during a live stream and the whole world sees it, you've just put a spotlight on yourself at the highest level. Every move starts getting extra attention after that. And that's the last place you want to be when your full release date is still months away. But it doesn't stop there. It actually gets deeper. Just days before this raid even happened, Pooh Shiesty jumped on social media to address something serious. There were allegations going around saying he cooperated in his federal case. And in hip-hop, that kind of label sticks heavy. It can follow you for life. So he decided to speak on it directly. He posted a video going through his actual case paperwork on camera, putting everything out there for people to see. The caption said, "Traumatized, they don't know the half." And in that video, he said, "They smacked us up with more charges thinking that would break us or make us tell we some of the most solid you will ever see." That wasn't just a casual post. That was him pushing back publicly while still under federal supervision. And doing that kind of thing while being watched that closely, that can bring a whole different kind of pressure. His name is already on paperwork, official paperwork at that. Now really think about this for a second. You're still under federal supervised release. You are not fully free yet. Your official release date is April 11th, and it hasn't even arrived. But at the same time, you're online publicly talking about your federal case, your co-defendants, and putting it all out there in front of millions of people. That's not how someone moves when they're trying to stay low and avoid attention. That kind of move does the exact opposite. It puts a spotlight on you instantly. That's the type of situation that makes a supervision officer pick up the phone real fast. That's the type of moment that gets prosecutors watching closely. Because once you post something, it's no longer private. It's part of the record. Everything you say, everything you show, it can all be used. And the wild part is, they don't even need a warrant to see it. It's already public. You handed it to them yourself. And then, just days after that video goes up, the FBI shows up at your family home at 6 in the morning with flashbangs. That timing is hard to ignore. Nobody's saying that's 100% the direct cause, but come on, that doesn't look random at all. Now this is where things really start to get interesting because this whole situation brings up a bigger question. Was Pooh even the main target of that raid? Think about it carefully, because the details matter here. The property in question is a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath home located in Cordova, a suburb of Memphis. That's the location federal agents chose to hit, and that choice might say more than people realize. That property wasn't just random either. It was purchased back in April for $656,500, and records from the Shelby County assessor listed under the name Lontrell Dennell Williams. That name connects directly to both Pooh Shiesty and his father, Rel Williams Sr., and that right there is not a small detail. That could be the key to everything. Look at it from the federal side for a second. If investigators are actually looking into Rel Williams Sr. for any reason, and that house is tied to his name, then that address becomes the target. The warrant says Rel Williams. That doesn't automatically mean the rapper. It could point to the father entirely. There are a lot of ways this could play out. Maybe there's financial activity linked to that property that raised red flags. Maybe something tied to that address triggered a deeper investigation. Or maybe the focus was always on someone else connected to that household. And here's where it gets even more confusing. Pooh was supposed to be in Dallas under re-entry supervision. So if federal agents were strictly going after him and they already knew where he was assigned to be, why hit the Memphis house like that? That leaves two serious possibilities. Either they had reason to believe he was in Memphis when he wasn't supposed to be, which would be a direct violation. Or, and this is where it gets heavy, the warrant wasn't mainly about him at all. It was about that house, that address, and whoever tied to it is under investigation. And don't forget, there's still the re-entry violation angle hanging over everything too. That alone could change the entire situation fast. This part right here is critical. Federal records clearly showed he was supposed to be in Dallas until April 11th. So if he was actually at that Memphis house when everything went down, and let's be real, the FBI doesn't pull up with flashbangs expecting an empty place, then just being there could already be a serious problem, because that alone could trigger a supervised release violation before you even get into what the investigation is really about. And that's where things get dangerous fast. A supervised release violation tied to a federal firearms case is not something small. They can send you right back to finish your original sentence, and even add more time on top of that. That's heavy consequences stacked up quick. But there's another angle that deserves real attention, and that's the online activity. Because when you're under federal supervision, you're not moving like a regular person. There's oversight on everything. Your supervision officer can monitor your social media, track your movements, and review your communications. So when Pooh posted that video going through his indictment paperwork and speaking publicly about his co-defendants while still under supervision, that's not just content for views. That can turn into something much bigger depending on what was said and how it came across. That moment could be looked at in different ways. It could be seen as crossing boundaries set by his supervision terms. It could raise questions that bring more scrutiny to his case. Or it could simply flag him for deeper attention from authorities. From the prosecution side, nothing online just disappears. The internet moves fast, but everything stays documented, and that can come back at any time. So where does everything stand right now? Let's keep it real and break it down straight. As of this morning, there is still no official confirmation on who was actually arrested. The FBI did confirm they executed both a search warrant and an arrest warrant at that property, and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation was right there working alongside them. During the raid, flashbangs were used, and agents were moving in and out of that house for hours straight. This wasn't quick, this was a full operation. But here's what's making people look twice. Nobody from his side has said a word. His team, silent. 1,017 records, silent. His lawyer, silent. No one has confirmed if Pooh was even inside that house when everything went down. And that silence, it speaks loud. Because when something is simple or just a misunderstanding, people usually clear it up fast. Think back to January 2026, when rumors started flying online saying he had been rearrested. That situation got shut down almost immediately. His label reached out, outlets got updates, DJ Academics stepped in, and Pooh himself spoke out saying he wasn't locked up. That whole situation got cleaned up within hours because the truth was easy to explain. But this time, nothing. No statements, no clarification, no quick, this isn't what it looks like from his management. That's a completely different energy. And when things go quiet like this, it usually points to two possibilities. Either the situation is too complicated to explain quickly, or it's serious enough that lawyers are telling everyone involved to stay quiet and not say a single word. And that right there might be the biggest signal out of everything so far. Because when lawyers step in and tell you to stay quiet, you stay quiet. No exceptions. That silence isn't random, it's strategic. Now look at the timing again, because this part really hits hard. His full release date from federal supervision was April 11th, 2026. And this all went down on April 1st. That's just 10 days away. 10 days from being completely done with the system. No more check-ins, no more restrictions, no more oversight. And right before that finish line, the FBI shows up with flashbangs and a federal arrest warrant. That's not normal timing, that's shocking. Think about everything leading up to this. The plea deal, years spent in a federal prison in Pennsylvania, going through the re-entry program, staying under supervised release the whole time. He made it through all of that. And he was just 10 days away from finally being free. 10 days! That's what makes this situation feel so heavy. Because now instead of walking into full freedom, he could be looking at going right back into the system again. And the reaction? It's already everywhere. The hip-hop world is buzzing, people are talking heavy, and social media has been going non-stop since the news dropped. Some are saying this was targeted. Others are pointing at his recent posts. Some are bringing up his father, and some are even questioning if the feds were ever really done watching him. There are a lot of theories, but no clear answers. And then there's the irony that's got people talking too. The same artist who dropped FDO, First Day Out, a track that hit number 12 on the Hot 100 celebrating freedom, is now at the center of another federal situation. People online are already saying AO Part 2 might be coming, but this time it doesn't feel like a joke. Because this isn't rumors or internet talk anymore. This is real agents, a real house, and a real federal warrant. Let me zoom out for a second because this situation is bigger than just Pooh Shiesty. This fits into a pattern, and if you really follow hip-hop, you already know what that pattern looks like. The federal government doesn't forget, ever. That's the main thing to understand here. Local cases, state issues, those can get dropped, worked out, or handled in ways where people move on. But when the feds get involved, it's a completely different game. They don't just close files and walk away, they build cases over time. They watch closely. They track movements, monitor communications, and keep an eye on social media. And when someone already on their radar makes a move they don't like, or even something they interpret as a mistake, they act on it. Now look at everything surrounding this situation. Pooh had multiple red flags stacking up in plain sight. That viral moment where his parole officer called him on live stream posts, showing him outside the area he was supposed to be in. And that video where he spoke publicly about his federal case and co-defendants. Each one of those alone might not end everything, but all of them together, all of them documented, public, and happening while he's still under federal supervision, that builds a picture. That's how profiles get formed in real time, and the feds are known for being patient. They don't rush, they wait, they watch, and when the timing feels right, early morning, no warning, they show up ready. Flashbangs, warrants, full operation. And just like that, everything changes. And we still haven't even fully unpacked the questions surrounding his father. That's another layer that could make this situation even deeper. And let's be clear about this part. Nobody is making accusations about Rel Williams Sr. There's no confirmed information on that. But the fact remains the feds got a warrant for a property tied to a shared family name. And right now, we still don't officially know who the actual target of that arrest warrant was. That alone opens up a serious conversation that can't just be brushed off. It's completely possible that his father could have been under some kind of investigation that has nothing to do with Pooh directly. And if that's the case, then this situation takes on a whole different meaning. Imagine doing your time, coming home, trying to rebuild your life, only to get pulled back into chaos because of something connected to your family. That's not just complicated, that's heavy. And it's not unheard of either. Situations like this have happened before. Family members can end up caught in the middle of federal investigations. Shared addresses can turn into shared exposure real fast. And when agents execute a warrant at a home, everyone inside, or connected to it, can suddenly become part of the situation, whether they were the focus or not. But this also shines a light on something bigger that doesn't get talked about enough. The vulnerability that comes after release. When someone comes home from a federal case, they're not fully free the way people think. They're under pressure, under supervision, and under constant observation. Every move, especially online, is being watched by people whose job is to catch mistakes. And that creates a dangerous balance, because at the same time, there's that strong pull to reclaim identity, get back in the spotlight, and move like you used to. But under federal supervision, one wrong move, or even the wrong kind of attention, can change everything fast. The second more information drops, it's getting covered immediately. The moment we get real confirmation, who was arrested, what charges are on the table, and whether Pooh is actually in custody, you already know it's getting broken down fast. So, don't miss anything. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this situation is just getting started and it could shift at any moment. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think this is really about Pooh directly, or could his father be the actual focus behind all of this? And what about that video, him going through his case paperwork while still under federal supervision? Do you think that added pressure to the situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. And if you're tapped into updates like this, make sure to like this video, share it with others, and stay locked in. This story is still unfolding, and it's far from over. That urge to speak on your situation, respond to allegations, and jump back on social media to show the world you're good, that's natural. Anybody in that position would feel that. But at the same time, that exact move can be risky when you're still under federal watch. It's a tough balance, because while you're trying to take control of your image, every post, every video, every word can be looked at from a completely different angle. Now looking at this situation, it raises a real question. Did he move too loose with everything on the line? Or was he actually being careful, and something bigger than him still pulled him into this situation? Right now, we don't have all the answers. But here's what we do know, and it matters. Just 10 days before his federal supervision was set to end, the FBI showed up at his family home before sunrise, with flashbangs and federal warrants in hand. That's not small, that's serious pressure. That's not something you brush off or clear up with a quick post or statement. Situations like this take time, and they usually run deep. And depending on what comes out over the next 24 to 48 hours, whether this ties directly to him, connects to his father, involves a supervision issue, or something even bigger, his future in music and his freedom could both be on the line right now.